Hello, dear friends. Over the last few episodes, we have explored the world of accountability, and importantly, we have tried to identify what actions and steps a leader can take to build a culture of accountability in his team. A culture where people start taking ownership of outcomes and not just actions. But today, I want to ask you a basic yet very important question. In the journey of accountability, what can get in the way? And I would like to examine this with a set of 4 questions that any leader needs to ask himself and find answers to. To begin with, the question number 1 is, are too many people involved here? There's this old saying which says that when everyone is responsible, no one is responsible. And in the today's context, with technological advancement, this has got further magnified. Can I ask you to step back and think how many people were copied in the last email that you received? How many people normally get copied on an email in your organization? And I have a very funny story. During the onset of COVID in my previous organization, we started a very effective practice of having online monthly review meetings. We started with 20 people initially. And 2 years down the line, when I reviewed the list of attendees, to my surprise, it was an astonishing number of over 100. And just think, in the days of those good old in-person meetings, one restriction that we had on number of people that could attend was at least the number of chairs that you could put in the meeting room. But today, because of technology, you can copy almost the entire organization on an email, and for an online meeting, you can have hundreds and thousands of people attending. Presence has become easier, but has accountability improved? For when everybody is involved, accountability suffers. And therefore, my suggestion is that as leaders, look at a couple of things that you can do. 1, try to organize your teams into smaller squads, each focused on a particular goal. And number 2, be intentional on copying people or inviting people to online meetings. The second question that you need to ask as a leader is, are we having too many priorities? When I took over as managing director of a cement company, I tasked my executive assistant to compile a list of running priorities and tasks that needed to be looked into by me. Soon enough, I found myself drowning, overwhelmed with the list and pull of priorities from all directions. And when I reviewed that list, I found it had ballooned into an unimaginable number. And imagine, each of these priorities had 3 to 4 further sub-action items. And I would ask you to pause and think, how does your priority list look? And I want you to also understand your job is not to carry everything on your shoulders, but to bring focus and action where it is needed. And therefore, some of the steps that I can recommend leaders to take are: kill or automate all non-productive, non-value additional, and routine work. Start conversations with your team on what can be done less, or better still, what can be stopped. And remember, do not look at busyness as a badge of honor in your organization. Make focus your leadership currency. And the third question you need to ask is, are the roles in the team clear? In my experience, I have seen that often when accountability is a challenge, the problem lies in fuzzy roles. It has also been noticed that many a times well-meaning managers hesitate in assigning clear responsibilities for the fear of being branded as micromanagers. Think of a high-performing football team. Every member in this team is clear about his roles. They have practiced all kinds of possibilities. When do the forwards fall back? What drill are they going to have in a corner? And so on. Now, look at your teams and ask, does everyone in your team know who's doing what? And if things derail, how are you going to respond to it? And my suggestion to leaders would be that to make this a habit in your organization, whenever you are allocating any task, ask simple questions like who's taking on what? And if things don't go as per plan, who is going to own the response? And the last question that you need to ask is, are people afraid to challenge poor decisions? Years back, I recall having pushed a market scheme which flopped completely. When we sat down to review this, my sales head came to me and told me, I knew from the beginning that this is not going to work. I was taken aback and was wondering why he did not tell me earlier. Was it apathy? Was it a good careless approach? But soon I realized that it was fear. People are often afraid to challenge poor decisions when they don't feel safe in doing so. So it is important for you to become a leader whom people can walk up and contest decisions. And how do you do that? In every task meeting, in every planning meeting, once you set your course of action, ask questions like, is there something we can do differently? Do you anticipate challenges in something? Can we improve some of the actions? And when your team gives you a feedback, and listen respectfully and genuinely. And any small change that you incorporate because of that feedback is so important to cultivate a culture of trust, a culture of confidence, and build accountability in your teams. So to wrap up today's talk, I would like to summarize the 4 important actions that we as leaders need to take. Firstly, create smaller, task-oriented, focused teams. Step 2, have fewer but meaningful priorities. Step 3, ensure that all members of your team have clear roles and responsibilities assigned. And lastly, create a culture where feedback is encouraged and people feel confident to speak up. If you model these in your organizations, I can assure you that accountability will follow quietly but sustainably. And if today's conversation has sparked any thoughts in you, if you have any ideas to share, I'll be too happy to hear from you. Until we meet next time, bye bye, Jai Hind.